I've seen you do so many helpful things for the movement since that time. So, I don't know where to go with that, except I feel deeply disappointed now, because I see you misrepresenting us. And you've developed a trust with members of City Council, and they look at you as somebody who is a key person, and so do the police because of your work with the police. And I don't know what's happening. You know, you seem to be running to the police with these false reports. And I don't know that we can straighten those things out. I spoke with Chief Longo today also, but I didn't go and set up a meeting and meet with him privately or anything like that. He and Captain whoever it was, the second in command person, and a high-ranking sergeant came walking through our camp, and I think they came because of an article like this, because of the meeting we had on Wednesday in which they heard things that concern them about this stuff in our camp, which I don't think is really here. And so I spoke with them, and I welcomed them, and I, asked what was on their mind, and the subject came up about some of the things that were said at our meeting with the police about how we were looking for conflict. And I told them that as far I come to most General Assembly meetings, I'm here a few hours most days, and I haven't heard anything like that. And they seem to think that I was at least being honest with them about what I was saying. And I tell them some people might see different things and might know things that I don't know. But I didn't see that, and I wanted him to know that if we know, and I'm speaking for the group, I shouldn't have done it, but I said, based on my understanding of the group and what I find here, that if we saw anybody who was acting in a way that was out of line, even in terms of being arrested, while they're being arrested, if they were acting in a way in which they were being provoking the police or anybody else, that we would probably do whatever we can to stop that. And he seemed to believe me, but when somebody else talks to him about how we're a bunch of factions and divided and people are going to do weird things, he might believe that too. I don't know.
Yeah. Thank you so
but
much.
I think he was here to gather intelligence because he's concerned about stuff that he's heard, and he's heard from you, and that hurts. It really hurts.
Thank you, Herb.
And I don't know what, I think for whatever reason, we all see the world the way we see it, and it's different. We have differences, and I don't know why you're seeing us the way you do. I don't know why, but please don't run to the police and tell them this stuff. And don't run to anybody else on the outside, the media, and tell them this stuff.
Okay, thank
Please.
you. Thank you. Ashley, then Shannon, and then Larry, I believe, had his hand up. And Rose, that's where it's going to go to now.
Okay.
You have
To come up and say that you didn't say this or you didn't say that is untrue. It distinctly says in the article in your quote that the subgroup had a secret meeting. Therefore, everyone who was at that meeting is in this subgroup of, anarchists or whatever that are going to cause confrontation with the police. So you did say that. That's not true. There was a lot of different people there, including me. My personal situations that I've had in the past with the police, that's just where I'm coming from in my own personal life. I didn't ask anybody to do anything or feel the way that I feel. I am just expressing myself in this situation based upon my opinions of whether we should invite the police to our GAs or whether we should have 5 liaisons. That's the only thing that I said, so I don't know how that makes me someone who's going to cause confrontation with the police. Also, you can say whatever you want to say, but if you're spreading lies based on behalf of the group, and if there were factions here, that's fine. There's obviously going to be people here in this space, since there's so many of us, that are going to come together and have more in common. And if there were factions before, or if they just came up the other day, you made them in the article. You spoke of them, and then you, at least one that I know of, that's a subgroup that has secret meetings that aren't really secret. Basically, you use your perception whatever's in your own head, and you went out there and you spoke it as truth. It is not true. It's really unacceptable. Anyone who's going to stand here and act like it's not is delusional, in my opinion.
Okay.
Excuse you?
Oh, hold on.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
Okay.
I don't know. No. Excuse you.
Yeah. Actually, it's not finished. If we could take a deep breath and relax, because everyone is allowed to say what they need to say. Shauna, you have a direct response. I was hoping not to do direct responses because there's so many people that need to talk. So if you could, we have a few other people. You can wait to say your piece and maybe cool down, so it might be more respectful. Ashley, can you finish?
Yes, I did call you delusional.
Now we do not want to play this game. We do not want to play this game. Respectful language, okay? That is unacceptable. Please, let's try to keep this anonymous, not point fingers. Just say how you feel.
Okay. I don't feel comfortable with people hemming at me really loud while I'm speaking.
If there's anything else we would like to say besides the immediate response of that reaction.
Please.
I keep going if you...
At the end of the day, this article is a lie. I think that we should have a response to it that basically says discredits it and the person that was speaking in it. I think that it's unacceptable for anyone to do that. If anyone would have done it, I would feel the same way. It is nothing about my personal feelings versus anyone here. Obviously, some of us like each other and some of us don't, and that's fine. That's the way the world works. But if anybody would have done this, I would want them to. I would want the article to be taken off. And there's also a sense of like defamation of character for people who are in the photo that are in the article that say that they want the comment.
Okay, thank you, Ashley. We have Shannon.
I just want to say that I think this is a really dangerous choice to have made. I didn't see anything in the article that said, hey, my perception is that da-da-da-da-da-da. That would have made things different, and still would have been kind of a strange choice, but would have, to me, but would have at least been something that pulls a person who's had a lot of sort of administrative behavior with this group out of a spokesperson mode, which I think that's the problem, or part of the problem. My perception is going to be very different than everyone else's perception here, and so to fail to say, based on where I'm coming from, and then also to fail to bounce it off, a few other people, to be like, hey, am I tripping or da 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 da, before it went anywhere else.
So
I think that was a mistake. Right. I think if there was a problem, I think that should have been handled, within the group. Seems to me to almost have been a little bit retaliatory, but I could be wrong on that. Another thing that I wanted to say was, as a business person in this community, this puts me in a problematic light where I have to now discredit a person speaking on behalf of the group in order to justify and substantiate my continued involvement with a situation that I feel really strongly about, and I think that sucks. And I think I'm not alone in that. So if there was divisiveness before, there's divisiveness now, and to discredit someone who I really like a lot of the things about this person bumps me out. But I mean, I'm going to have to post it on my Facebook and go, this is one person's perception, and they forgot to say that. And so, and I think that a lot of us are finding ourselves in that position. And I think so. My proposal that I made last night, based on the fact that this was getting ready to hit the charts or whatever, was that we put together a media. Media is kind of different. Like a public relations group where we all sort of check ourselves. There was a lack of checks and balances here, I think, that became problematic, and so maybe 5 people who can be diplomatic, who can hear that maybe they're not the be-all, end-all.
Perhaps go to a lot of GA meetings.
Right, people who
have requirements.
Right, people who can check themselves and who can deal with being checked. Maybe 5 or 6 of those folks, and then if there needs to be interfacing with the media at all, that maybe there be 3 of them there. Because that there's sort of a way that's in the solution about this. I do think this was a highly problematic thing that happened. I do think it was a grave mistake. I do not think that this is going to kill us, but I think that it's a bummer.
Okay, thank you, Shannon. Larry.
Shannon said everything that I would.
Wait, I'm sorry. It's
well, anyway,
been a long
Rose.
Rose?
Shannon said what I would have said.
Oh, great. Okay. Rose. Rose is taking a silence in the park because when she's in the park, she wants to experience how important it is to have free speech. So she is not talking. So she, I believe, has written something, and Shauna will be the one to explain. To read.
Just read it. It's choppy. I'll say that. It's written quickly. Our public opinion matters not because they will color it as they see fit. The cops will not brutalize us. Don't be afraid. This isn't Denver or Oakland. Evan is allowed to think what he thinks and say what he says. The cops see us as individuals. And it says remind them about the arson. Because
the thing was, yeah, I'm gonna.
Sure.
When the gentleman came and tried to spray her and Mike's tank with the lighter fluid, tried to catch it on fire.
The police did come.
The first thing that happened was that we went to the authorities and we used them the right way. That's everybody here's been cooperating with them, and that's what she wanted to point out is that every chance that they've had, they've cooperated fully with the police, and the police understand that this is it's a working relationship between them, and that we're here to be a part of their and assist them in situations. We're not here to like drive them.